with no further ado, Lionel Rabb is going to tell us about what happens at his park council.
Thank you.
Lionel.
And I apologize, Kim. So greetings. Thanks again for coming out to the OpenGov meetup. My name is Lionel Rabb. I'm the president of the Jefferson Memorial Park Advisory Council. We're up on the northwest side, Milwaukee and Lawrence area, Higgins. I guess I'll talk a little bit about the structured advisory councils, what they are functionally, what the organizing capabilities are, and why at least I've joined them and why we've had other people join them. So park advisory councils inside Chicago are actually currently organized under Friends of the Park. So most advisory councils operate under the 501c3 of Friends of the Park. So we're sort of a member organization. They're our fiduciary agent. That allows us to get, so basically if you wanted to form an advisory council in your park, you wouldn't have to go through the standard IRS process. You could apply to Friends of the Park, pay $100, and you can start soliciting funds to help your park. The general goal of advisory councils, in most cases, is very specific. Some need something for a play lot. They need maybe, before we had recycling trash cans everywhere, fixing equipment. Some are broader. The Independence Park did a bungalow restoration over $1 million. They put together, so they formed a park advisory council, started raising money, hold wine fest, whatever, to get people in, raise some money, got a match from the city, got some money from the park district, restored a historic bungalow for the park district. So the main attribute and value of the advisory council is sort of, the park is already very community facing, but they're structured under the government and the city. So there's things they can't do. They can't go and directly solicit funds. They can charge fees, which doesn't make citizenry very happy most of the time. And so it's really, so they get a little stuck. And so our job is really to help the park district at the local level. So we work directly with the superintendent of the park. We work very closely with CPD. And in every case we've experienced, they've been a great partner. So some examples of what we've done at Jefferson Park. So I got involved. I own a business nearby. I live in the community. I got a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old daughter. Go to the play lot a lot. We had a fairly recent play lot. But as lots of communities in Chicago are changing, you felt a sense of people disconnecting more and more. And we're sitting in parks. And as I've traveled, Chicago is, I think everyone knows this, I'm going to say it, is extremely unique with our park system. I think we just won the some big award as the best park, the gold medal. We got the national gold medal for the park system. It is a resounding, amazing system. When you travel the world, you travel the major cities, you travel little cities. You don't have parks in every corner. You don't have places like Jeff Park. You don't have places like, so the structure, as far as I've learned it now, is that generally a field house is a significant investment from the city. That's your main park in your area. The parks that don't have field houses, they may have play lots. The supervisor in the field house technically manages those parks that don't have field houses. So really, there's a tiered system. And well, now you think about that. You got someone sitting in a field house 3 blocks away from this little park. It's kind of the community's job to keep an eye on that park and let the supervisor know when there's issues, broken equipment, things like that. Well, that's what the advisory council is for. And then when the supervisor says, or we say, hey, we want this new swings, she didn't budget for it, he didn't budget for it, well, can we all chip in $10 to get some swings? Or can we go to the budget hearing and say, hey, we really need some swings, and let the park district know? So we looked at our park very differently. We're a very active advisory council. We got involved and we said, we see this as more of a community issue, a community opportunity. We have a very diverse community. Used to be primarily Polish. It's growing Spanish, growing Arabic. So our park became sort of a ground where people were to meet that didn't meet. They just kind of came, kind of all used in their pockets and left as fast as they could and didn't interact. Our programming, the park programming from the park district has always been extremely strong. We got a lot of good kids programming. But the community programming, we'd have a festival a year, and it wasn't catching fire for the community. So we sat there and we said, well, we formed this thing. What do we do now? Park's in good repair, don't really need anything. So we said, well, let's have a community event and get people out and let's get them to talk, right? So he said, well, hopefully people will show up. So we get a band, get some music, get some food. Next thing you know, first event, 1,400 people show up. So our email list went from 0 to 1,400 or 900 because the count was 1,400. 900 people showed up. So obviously there's a need, right? People want to get out. People want to talk. A little free food never hurts as I look around. But people got engaged. They said, well, what's this about? And of course, the first couple times people are very nervous. What are you doing this for? What's your interest? So we said, hey, we just want to get people out to the park. We want to get it activated. We want to remind you to pick up your trash. Simple stuff. So did another couple things. Then we created something called Bouncy Tuesdays. What's Bouncy Tuesdays? Talked to people and said, well, what do you really want? And they said, well, you know what? Parents got some time between 5:30 and 7:30. Want to do something with the kids, burn off some energy. Play lot, we only got a little play lot. So we convinced the park supervisor, we throw some volunteers out there. We drag the bouncy houses out for 2 hours every other Tuesday. 200 people regularly come out to Bouncy Tuesday. They love it. It's free. Park gets credit as accounting for community engagement and community things. So when it gets on, and I own a software company, so I'll just spend a few minutes on the data stuff just because I know, and I'm going to leave some time open for some questions if you have any. So this led into Bouncy Tuesdays. Well, then next thing you know, community member says, hey, I teach chess. I'd love to have a chess club. We got a chess club now. And this is all free still. Everything is free to the community come and use. So by the third or fourth event, this is the first summer, I mean, every event we had over 1,000 people show up. People were asking if they could make donations. So then we went back to the park district and said, hey, if we had money, what would you want to do with it? And so we help back in the supply budget. We buy extra things for the kids programming. We've partnered with local arts center. We bring the schools in. So this year our schedule is over 40 family events in it that are all free right now. We've got 6 major events that involve bands and music. We worked with the park district. We have an old historic building that's not been in use for over 15 years. It was getting dilapidated. It was getting a bit of an eyesore. Capital budget never deemed it necessary to get it fixed up. Let me tell you, we went and asked, said, hey guys, we'd really love to get this fixed. We'd love to host our holiday event here. It'd be a great little house for the Elves workshop. Within 6 months, the park district, they had people out there. They looked at it, said, we said we'd pay for it. We'd volunteer to paint. They said, you can't touch it. It's lead. They brought out a team. 3 months after that, 9 months is a long time, but you know what? 15 years is a long time. Park district put up the money. They did it. And it's beautiful. We got a new sign. We got a little plaque about the historic nature of the building. So from an organizing capacity, park advisory councils matter, and they can do a lot. And it's usually best when they work with the park district. When it turns into an accusatory issue, it just really falls apart quickly. From a data perspective, we work a lot. We've worked a lot with the city from a corporate perspective. So when we got involved with the advisory council, we quickly said we better start tracking who these people are, because if we don't know who they are, we're not going to be able to share with the park district who they are, and we can't figure it out. So we immediately moved into so from a tool base. So most park advisory councils probably do not use a lot of technology. There's probably a huge amount of opportunity. And so I'm going to walk through typical usage. Mail lists, right? Everything is email. We do some postage mail. We use constant contact. We do event registration, check-in, sign-in, all that good stuff. The park side has a whole series of other things they use, ActiveNet, other things that register for that. We've been talking with the park district about connecting the two so that right now we give reports to our supervisor, who then lets the park district get their counts. They had another thing called Shy Park Points. Now, you guys may have heard of this. It's a big incentive primarily focused on social media. If you like the Park District on Facebook, if you take photos from events, you get points that can be spent towards experience-based events. So you can go swim with the dolphins. You can get a membership to the Field Museum. So really cool stuff. But the problem is a lot of the people showing up to our park and our events aren't social media people, right? So we said, hey, let's bridge the gap on this. We want these people to get points, and we want them to get it incentivized. So we met with the Shy Park Points team from CPT. So we're the only advisory council right now. After you sign up and after you show up, we send that information over. I don't think we don't have it. I don't know if we're using their exposed API yet, but there's an API, I think, or they may let people use it. I think we're using some sort of file-based, but you get points. So now you come to a Jefferson Park event, you get 100 points. It's like you went to, one of the other major park events. So we broke through that, and the next leap is to sort of connect more into the entrenched CPD systems to stop duplication, so we can really get a picture of the customer to see what they're using, liking, wanting, and where they can fit in sort of the matrix of usage. So we've had some good success on that mechanism. People like it. Shy Park Points likes it. They get a bunch more information on people. So I don't know what else I can answer. We also, our Park Advisory Council went the extra mile. We did do a multi-year framework plan, so we have a strategic plan for the park. Again, lots of advisory councils are specific issues for a few years. There's some really strong ones. And now we're working with the Park District, with our area supervisor, about working with the other advisory councils to sort of share some best practices and stop duplication of events, and so that we can really sort of hone people into usage of the parks. So big goal is to get people back out using and respecting our parks and respecting the Park District for that matter. So any questions? Okay. Oh wait, Dan, you got one?
So ActiveNet is the software that the Park District uses for Shy Park Points.
No.
Okay.
No.
That would be too easy.
That would be way too easy. So, and Ken can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm strictly talking from a street level what I understand. Shy Park Points is a separate system that is primarily social media based. You go to Shy Park Points, you create a login, that creates your points account. You like stuff on social media, or you get stuff from us, and that's a point bank where you can get experiences. You are a parent, you sign your kid up for ballet, your kid goes into ActiveNet, you sign your kid up for summer camp, park camp. That's ActiveNet. It has nothing, it doesn't bridge yet, as far as I know. There is no cross connection. There's also a whole other series of.
There's a small connection between ActiveNet and Park Points, whereas if you register for a program, some of those programs are eligible for Park Points.
Okay.
So it's still, like you were saying, file-based. There's no API that connects the two.
Okay. So the Park District is moving in the right direction. They're already connecting programs to Shy Park. Yes.
How about iBeacons?
No. I mean,
it'd be really useful to know what the attendance was and
yeah.
know the layer.
Yeah. I mean, so right now, we're not exposing that data, right? We're not exposing attendance and social media stuff yet. It's really a great idea. I mean, so a lot of base stuff is difficult for advisory councils, right? We happen to be in a tech business. We're able to get some stuff done. Our website still sucks, right? Fundamentally, I mean, I'm sorry, but whoever has time to actually build a nice, useful website, right? Unless you're really in that business. So every advisory council has some varying version of a crazy website that probably isn't too community friendly, and we're on that list. I mean, and then also the donation software. So we use fundraise.com or something, and we went through different iterations of that, right? So it's still that base sort of engagement platform stuff that is a big struggle. So yes.
How do you organize just internally with the council members?
Oh.
Communicate information and
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't really get into I just got in the structure. So usually there's a base set of bylaws, right, that you can edit up, but usually there's at least 3 council members, and then you hold a monthly or bi-monthly, quarterly or monthly meeting. Members can usually be anyone within Chicago. How they are part of officers or not is kind of, their voting power is different. The goal is that there are lots of folks coming out to meetings or to some level of events to get their input. We send out surveys. We've done e-surveys. We've done paper surveys. We leave sign-up stuff for we put it in programs. So this goes back to the real strong relationship to the Park District. Everyone has to be working towards the same direction. So if we say, hey, we want to give a survey out to the people coming to the programs, here you go. Communication-wise, I don't think we're using MS365, but we may be. So we have some shared platform, but generally we all live in the community, so we all know each other. We'll stop over, meet, have lunch, and talk. So we still use an old school mechanism to do that. And then before meetings, we'll meet with our superintendent, our supervisor, the area supervisor if she's free, and kind of give a rundown on the issues we want to cover at the next meeting.
How about every block? Seems like that'd be a natural tool for you guys to use, or anyone.
Yeah, every block could be. It depends on what from a content sharing system, yes. But when you get into the comment world, and you can blast stuff out there, but then when it turns into a free for all, I don't know if that's really going to get to the. You've got a lot of. You also have a lot of community members that aren't online. Right, so we have a large amount of seniors and a large amount of other populations that aren't on mobile phones every day. So we try to be mindful of that. So we still do a lot of handouts. We have calendars we print, and people take them, people use them, and they show up to the event. So we're still registering people at the event. So we get about a 50%. If we send something out, we're getting about a 43% click-through rate. Off of that, we're getting about a 20% registration rate, and then we're getting another double that number showing up and registering on site. So, and we're dealing in hundreds and hundreds of people. So even with the push and we're not getting the click-throughs. That's just telling us that they're not ready. So,
Thanks.
anything else? If not, I'll hand it off to esteemed Kim from the Park District.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Lionel.